You a radical, a liberal. Hi, Kevin Blanch. I've had a horrible 3 weeks. I really knew that the medical system was a fucking joke nightmare in this country. I knew it from when I had my fall. It's worse. This is the biggest joke in the world. I have cancer. You know, this shit, you can't make this shit up. Life is stranger than fiction. I've been going off about nuclear plutonium. My father, a downwinder, marched into the trenches, drafted, by the way, by the Gene McCarthy radical far-right maniacs, nuked, dies many years later of leukemia. Turned myself into this expert. When Fukushima's happened, you know I went crazy, rant, rave, went over. The cancer that I have, is the only chance I have is surgery. It's down in my, they're gonna have to pull out my whole lower extremity down there. You know, I'll probably go in for surgery here ASAP. It's a really slow growing cancer. The only reason it was discovered, I had an ulcer. The ulcer, people don't realize this, that most ulcers they've discovered come from a bacteria. The bacteria is foodborne. So I've got it double whammy. I come back positive for the foodborne ulcer. And I don't know anybody that's ever had an, oh my God. And the doctors are so, but they don't tell me. I got so acute here a few days ago, I ended up in the emergency room again, and the doctor shoots me up with morphine and nausea. Later I find out the worst thing you can do for an ulcer is pain meds. You know, the whole healthcare, the pathology report wouldn't even let me read it. You ought to hear how I found out that this cancer was freaking malignant. I could go on, it's a pathetic nightmare. But the cancer that I have, they only, believe it or not, like I said, this is unbelievable. The only cause they know for sure, exposure to radiation. Seriously. That's the only cause. I've went through every website, everybody I know, doctors, whatever. Well, I grew up right here in Utah. I grew up out on a ranch. Spent my whole life outdoors, like we all did, 60s and 70s. You know, I was on a farm, a huge farm, outside every day, become a construction worker outside every day. The open air testing was going on from 51 to 68. I got radiated. There's no doubt I got radiated. And then Fukushima, now we're getting radiated again. Look, I fall back to Leonard Bird's book, and you guys know I like to use this as reference, as Richard Miller, the great scientist that he was, Under the Cloud. If you've never read that, it's something else. He spent his life doing this. This is the map of cancer from exposure to radiation. And he maps it, the incident, goes over it. And the incidents are off the hook. Well, there's where the tests were, there's where I grew up. It's in my lower bowel. Well, it's on the outside of the colon and the bowel. There's 2 tumors, plus there's thickening on the outside of the bowel, so he's going to have to cut that out. He's got to take a piece of my colon, put it back together, try to get it all out of there. He thinks he can do it. I got to get this ulcer healed up, which, like I said, anybody's ever had one. So, like I said, the bacteria gave me the ulcer. Without the ulcer, I guess I didn't know. I would have never known I had, well, not till later. Good or bad, I don't know. But like I said, I haven't given up on the Occupy movement, people, you know, everything. I just got to get my strength back. Get my strength back. And like I said, I default to Rachel Carson so much. How ironic is this? I mean, it's unbelievable. The nuclear poisoning that they have done to us. This country has destroyed us. This country has been looted. This country has turned into a pyramid scheme. The United States is nothing but a pyramid scheme for corporate board members. I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was on Wall Street years ago, I was heavily involved in the 3Com Palm IPO. That's the day the market capitulated, March of 2000. I identified the arbitrage, which is an arbitrage guaranteed way to make money, one, because of crooked investment bankers who pump something way too high than it should be. And so, as 3Com owned it, well, the 3Com owners know what they were up to. The price opened at 175, crashed right down to 80. They unloaded, made billions and billions and billions. These board members see it's the most corrupt, crooked fucking thing you ever seen. It blew up the fucking market, whatever. 3Com, which owned Palm, which Palm originally came from U.S. Robotics, which U.S. Robotics originally come from a guy right here in Utah who invented this smartphone for $30,000. He sold his patent out. But anyways, it evolved. You know, it ended up Apple with all of it, but I went to the SEC on this corruption. I saw it firsthand right in my face. Went to Spitzer. Went over this Eric Bartholomew, he was on the board. He was the acting CEO of 3Com. Got on CNBC, you know, it was the most grotesque, corrupt thing I ever saw. By the way, if you saw the interviews this morning with Mrs. Maida, didn't it remind you of Kenneth Lay's wife? Oh God, I mean, it's grotesque. It makes me fucking physically sick. And I am sick. Okay? Back to the 3Com. Well, years later, about 5-6 years later, I discovered another arbitrage. I was an arbitrage guy. That's what I did on Wall Street. I was very successful at it. Cypress Semiconductor. Completely different company than 3Com. Spinning out a company called SunPower. I'm like, whoa, look at these discrepancies. Invest bankers playing another game. You know, you go short one, long the other, it's guaranteed way. Or, you know, they either go like this back together, or they go like this back together. Right? It's an arbitrage. So I get searching in, I'm like, these crooked fuckers, and I'm watching what they're up to, and I get searching who the corporate board members are. Lo and behold, yeah, swear to God, corporate Eric Bartholomew, the same fucking guy who perforated the same board members who perforated the 3Com palm scum, did it again. So I got on the phone. And I called down there. I got their phone off their website, and I says, I need to talk to the CFO. And I says, this is what I know. And I says, I was heavily involved in the 3Com palm spin. I know what you guys are up to, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to the SEC right now. Well, you know no CFO is ever going to call you back. About a half hour later, I get a phone call from the CFO himself. No bullshit. And, you know, he tries to backtrack. Well, I says, oh, I seen that you just sold X amount of millions of shares. Well, I'm worried about this market, blah, blah. The SEC is corrupt. The freaking corporate America is corrupt. Wall Street is corrupt. This entire country, we have nothing but the air and the water. They've poisoned us. I am living proof. My father, I watched him die of leukemia. Now they're going to take me. One after. This is sad, fucking pathetic commentary on this fucking. And then they wonder why people are in the fucking streets. And we've turned this country into a police state. And if you don't believe this country is a military police state, you are crazy. It is a military, bought, paid for police state. Stay with me. I'll keep you updated. I'll probably have the surgery next couple weeks. See if they can get it out. They say they can. You know. Hopefully I got a chance. Kevin Blanch.